makes you. And it's going to be a lot of the personal. We connect with people on the personal. So you see a whole lot of stuff about me up there. All of it's true. Nancy did a search GPT on me yesterday and said, what is Roy Sexton? And a lot of this stuff came up. So the robots got it anyway. I'm doing something right. But one of the other things that I learned, I worked with an executive coach about 15 years ago. I highly encourage you to take advantage of an opportunity like that if it presents. It's like therapy for your job. And one of the things we learned during that process is that I'm an introvert. You're like, no, you're not. Yes, I am. I'm social, I like to be on stage, I like to engage, but I get my energy being alone. I'm an only child. I had a lot of issues with an extroverted boss at the time, and we were just butting heads, and I was cranky, and I didn't know why. And it was because I never took time for myself to walk away from the brainstorm. I need to process alone. Once I figured that out, my world changed. So I'm going to come back to that a few times during these remarks. But I also do theater. But I like to be on a stage. Puts me and you out there, but we're still connected. There's a structure to it, there's a process, there's self-reflection. And there are 4 things I've gotten from theater that have helped me in a room full of extroverts. They are, say yes. That's an improv line. What that means is you add to the idea that has come before. Listen and observe. Introverts love to soak it all up and figure out how then they can make their differentiation. That has been key for me in my life. Take the note. What do I mean by that? When you are in theater, any theater people in the room? One. Okay, great. Hello. But you rehearse, and the director is your proxy for the audience. Bad actors argue with the director. The director gives you notes after every rehearsal. You don't have to do everything they said, but you have to find a way to integrate it into your body, into your character, into what you're doing. You have to have a willingness to do that. Good actors take the note. And finally, rehearse and prepare. Last night, I went over this about 4 times in my room after a couple cocktails, and I thought, they're gonna hate this. What am I doing? Why am I up there? Called my husband. He said, you're fine. This is your mothership. Do what you do. He was right, and I did it one more time, and I'm like, okay, I know what I wanna do. But I have to get it in my bones. I have to get it in my DNA. I have to get to the moment of, why am I doing this? To realize, I'm doing this. So I've had a very serendipitous career path. You do not care about my resume. I barely care about my resume. But I offer this. Jonathan Friedman and I had a conversation last night. We will find places in our path where we want to level up. I want the next title, the next title. Don't focus on that. I've gone back and forth. I talked my way into a job at Deloitte. I still don't understand how that happened. Hated it. Went into healthcare. Loved that. Got sick of it. Joined my first firm, which is a mortgage foreclosure firm, found LMA, and that's when at 42 years old, I finally figured out what I wanted to do with my life. But I took steps back and forth, and as long as I was learning, I stayed. And when I stopped learning, it was time to go. Now, I found a group of people like me, but I didn't know it at first. I was intimidated by all of you. I felt like I was in the 8th grade again. I didn't know which lunch table to sit at. I didn't know how to engage. But I studied. The introvert part of me kicked in. The observational part of me kicked in. And I found my people. There they are. That's 12 years of relationship building, steady growth, taking time to be myself around people who could appreciate me for that. So I have some simple tips. They may apply to you, they may not. I dress for me. People talk about dress for success. I can't do that, obviously. It doesn't work. I'm not real. I don't connect with people because I'm not being myself. So I wear funny outfits. I shouldn't say funny outfits. I like them. Lapel pins. See, I'm still always learning. Lapel pins, things that break the ice and have people want to connect with me. That helps me feel like I deserve a place in the room. I leverage social media. I'm a menace if you're connected with me. A lot of you have been like, oh, I'm connected with you on LinkedIn. Yeah, I post too much. I flagrantly disregard all the best advice that Jacob and Nancy and people give you about what you should do on social media. I don't care. I like to connect with people. I like to engage with them. It is a nice place for me to be able, in my energy and my time, build relationships. Tweeting. Thank you, Elon. He really screwed that up. Oh, sorry, that was my outside voice. Anyway, but there was a time when we'd go to conferences and we would, this woman right here, we'd sit at a table and we'd go like, oh, we're tweeting. I don't know why. But we were sharing content from the sessions actively. And what that did for me is then when I went to the networking event, which is where it's death for me, I walk in a room with a bunch of people laughing and carrying on and not letting anyone finish a story, and I'm like, but because I'd been connecting with them online, I could go up to individuals and create a bubble in a space where I could connect, because we've been engaged already online. That was important and very crucial to building my relationship and network in this association. And I always did my homework. I can't keep up with Kevin Iredell, but I read a lot, and I want to sound smart as best I can. And so when I'm having a conversation with someone, connect on the personal, but make sure there's substance. Make sure I'm hearing the questions in this room. This is a smart group of people. You want to be able to engage on a substantive level to build your professional brand and your voice. So, Talitha, you see yourself. I love this quote. It's from a documentary called Grey Gardens. If you watch it, you're going to really worry about me. But so I think this is the best costume of the day. And that's really how I approach. You should see the luggage I bring to even something like this. These moments, Talitha has now become a very dear friend of mine. That was just April. And I was not as dressed as crazy there, but I had one of my pins on. But you came up to me and you wanted to talk to me, and you talked to Nancy, and we've had wonderful conversations. I have learned and grown from them. I hope I've been able to be helpful to you in some ways. That happened because I do what I do. I present the way I present, and I embrace it. So I really wish, this is getting a little tired because they were talking about introverts about 6 years ago, and here I am, introvert. But there were a lot of articles that I wish I'd written because I was learning all this stuff in real time, but I wasn't smart enough to do that. But there are 3 tips here that I think can apply to everybody, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. I think they really work well in our environment. First up, asynchronous communication. That's what social media is. That you get to engage with people on your time and in your energy. I really think this works for attorneys as well. They'll say, I'm all about relationships. I'm gonna 4 hours on a golf course with 3 people. Okay, but on scale, you can connect with a whole bunch of people online. Andy Warhol and George Orwell were right. We are all living online. People will tell you everything you need to know, and people want to be seen, so see them. Now, this seems kind of low rent, but it really works. Do some victory lap with your media and your marketing efforts. Every firm I've joined, they say, nobody's doing anything in marketing. So I set up a Google alert, and I put a newsletter together, and 3 weeks later, oh my God, look at everything coming out about the firm. Good for you. And then in sending it around, I have people go, well, I want to be in that monthly, weekly thing you do. Okay, well, do something, and I'll put you in there.
It's amazing how that works.
Sorry. Okay. You can also stand out by circling back. I don't always have the right, sharp response in a meeting. I just don't. But I reflect, and I come back, and that helps you stand out to later say, as a thoughtful person, I have some additional perspective. It's a great way for managing partners and other people in your organization to say, I have thoughts, and I'd like to articulate them. This may or may not be some of the conversations Talitha and I have had, calling her out. Okay, some of my simple tips at an event like this. Take the business card, connect online. When you send that invitation, personalize it. And make a note about what did you talk about? How did you connect? Did you change a tire with Tony badly at the pit stop? But whatever it is, remind the person of the moment they had with you, and then continue to connect with them. Don't just one and done. They are sharing content, like it, share it, connect with them, engage. You're going to develop sticky relationships in the most positive way possible. Take the victory lap, as I noted. Make sure you got to market yourself within your organizations and in this organization. I bristle if you're like, oh, it's so self-promotional. We are marketers.
Right.
That is what we do. So do it. This is just a quick aside. When I'm with other introverts, I'm far more at ease because we're sharing the same energy. I can finish a story. When I'm with you extroverts, will you please let me finish a story? Look, the waiter's here. Oh, who's that over there? Oh, I want to, I have a 4-minute story and I got in 2 minutes. The problem though is if I just stayed with other introverts, I would never grow. So whatever your energy is, push yourself to connect and learn from other people. That is what this world is about. So in terms of how I've leveraged affiliations to grow my personal brand, I have written. I was joking, my second law firm hired me because I wrote 2 articles in Strategies, no lie. Managing partner took the magazines, he never gave them back. I wish I had them, I'm no longer at that firm, but he's got my magazines. I volunteered any chance I got. The boards, regional committees, things that you all are doing. It's a great way to develop leadership skills out of cycle, somewhere else you can bring back into the office, and also develop your professional network. But honor your bond. If you're gonna volunteer, do what you said, because there's a great way to kill your career if you say, I'll help with that, and you never respond to an email. You never show up. People remember that. I said yes. Back then, I would go to conferences and everyone was invited to service provider dinners. I was not. So there was always a group of orphans, and I said, let's have dinner together. And it grew. It was 10. Next year was 30. Next year was 45. Try getting a restaurant to give you a reservation for 45 people without putting any deposit down. I did it once at Merrill in New Orleans. I stayed ubiquitous, probably too much so, but when people invite me on a panel or a podcast, I say yes. It's an opportunity to get a message out there, to have people connect with you. I listed my different board affiliations on LinkedIn. Some might disagree with this, but it is a job when you're on a board. And the nice thing about that as well is on an annual basis, someone gets a reminder that you're involved. One of the biggest ways I've ever connected with people was being on the Royal McDonald House board. You don't know how many people have been touched by that organization until you volunteer with them. And that became an entry point for a lot of people to learn about Clark Hill, to learn about Mosaic Youth Theater, to learn about my dogs, whatever I'm posting online. And finally, I share and share and share. I'm gonna come back to this, but this is so important. It's about connecting with people and liking and commenting. People are putting content out there, help them, give them signal boost. And I do this for my firm, as well as I do this for myself. As RuPaul says, if you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you gonna love anybody else? This, if you want to take a picture of a slide, I think this is great, stolen from another article I wish I'd written. I think these steps apply for all of us in this space. Make the most of your listening abilities, improve your writing skills, make use of problem-solving capabilities, understand the importance of self-care for high performance, set boundaries on low energy days, employ strategies for achieving balance in your schedule, take the time to create meaningful relationships, actively pursue knowledge that's relevant to your industry, make use of technology and social media, utilize network opportunities, and plan on your strengths, and prioritize self-awareness and personal growth. I know they tell you never turn around, never read a slide. I just did both of those things, because I think all of that is crucial. And it was, I'll pat myself on the back, I was doing all this stuff. And someone wrote an article, and I'm like, well, damn it. But good, I'm glad it's out there in the world. I don't hate to take, and I'm sharing it with all of you. So, here is a self-indulgent moment on top of the self-indulgent moments. I'm gonna be that old man that's still saying 20 years from now, you know, I danced with the drag queen on a stage in Florida. And they're like, sure, we know, Grandpa Roy. But I feel like this is an example of everything that I'm describing and how it all came together. I won't belabor the point, I've talked about this in a number of places, but LMA presidents unite. You get a lot of guff from people about a lot of stuff. You're like, why do you care so much? We were having a conference in Florida. Contracts, you're event planners, contracts are set years in advance. But helpfully, my allies who are looking out for LGBTQ people, me being one, were giving me a hell of a time that we were having a conference in Florida. You need to cancel that. How reckless, how tone deaf. I'm like, cancel it? We have 1,300 people coming. So the introvert part in me, the stinker part in me, the Taylor Swift part in me kicked in, and I was like, I'm gonna be performatively gay. I'm gonna have rainbow sequins head to toe. I'm gonna sing Born This Way.
He was so good.
And then I said, can I get a drag queen? They were like, oh, okay. What? 8:30 in the morning, I think it'll work. We met with Athena. She's like, you're lawyers? I go, no, we're not lawyers. It's a whole different vibe, and I'll explain to you. But we put this together as a statement, non-statement. I didn't want to be overly political, but I wanted to let people know they were in a safe space, in a place where they might not have been feeling safe. My LGBTQ community, my brothers and sisters of color, anybody who's ever felt marginalized, I wanted them to know I cared. So we did this thing, and it worked. And before we roll tape, and yeah, I'm gonna roll tape and do pop-up video and talk about it, and you're just gonna suffer through it for 4 minutes. There were a couple things that happened, because I was nervous as hell right before we were about to do this. Same thing I did last night. What am I thinking? I didn't tell anybody, because I knew people would try to talk me out of it. LMA presidents don't do that. They don't dance, they don't sing, we don't do that. Well, I do, hold my beer. But after we did it, I had people come up to me that I didn't know were part of my community that said, I'm not out, but I was very uncomfortable being here, and you made me feel safe. And the thing that was most most impactful, a woman who works as a videographer and is lesbian and Latina. She came up to me and said, "We are so tired of people saying, we're not giving money to Florida, we're not coming down here." Well, I still live here. I'm a gay woman of color, and I need people like you and your people to come here and help us. That hit me hard. Still does. So, with that, shall we roll tape?